You can achieve all sorts of looks with the Fiber Effects tools in Lightwave, and I thought we could take a look at creating an anime style hair. We've got this character here. She's already cell shaded, so she's ready to go, except she's missing hair. So I thought we could take a look at putting some hair on, but not realistic looking hair, doing anime style hair that's toon shaded. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down. And the first thing I'm going to do, instead of diving right into Fiber Effects, is I'm going to clone this object. So I have it selected, clone, OK. And for that clone, I'm going to change some of the properties. So I'm going to go to Object Properties. And for render, I'm going to change the settings. I'm going to have unseen by rays, unseen by camera, and turn off the cast shadow, receive shadow, and self shadow. I don't want this to actually render. We're just going to use it to place the hair. I'm going to go over to the Geometry tab, and for the subpatch level, I'm going to set it to 1 and 1. What this is going to do is this is going to lower the amount of geometry that's there. That's going to give us finer control over the size of clumps that we can use to make the spiky hair. Okay, so I'll go ahead and hop over to Fiber Effects now. So Control F8, add Fiber Filter, and now we're here. So I'm going to pick the second object. It's not going the object's not going to render, but the hair will. So I'm going to activate it and turn Draw on. I'm going to choose the hair surface so that we can just put hair where we want it. Okay, and then I'm just going to go and start changing some of the settings. I'm going to want more than 40%. I usually try and start off low, and if I need to go higher, I will. So I'm just going to raise it to 50. I don't want any kink because I want really straight hair for this. So I'll go 0 on kink. I don't want any stray hairs because they're all going to come to a point. And random length 0. And for clump, I'm going to go all the way to 100%. And you can already see we've got the spiky hair, except gravity, I'm going to set that to 0. Okay, so now it's completely spiky. Now, depending on the style of the hair, and I can see it's going off screen, so I'm going to actually, I'm going to lower this. Let's do 350. Okay, so I could go with this, but what I want to do is have some of the hair on top more, setting up more spiky than on the sides. I want the sides to kind of droop a little bit. So for gravity, I'm going to go to Texture Editor, Layer Type. I'm going to change to Gradient, and I'm going to set the input parameter to Slope. I want to go 0, so 0 gravity up top, and then I'm going to go. Let's do 200 gravity as it gets away from the top, and let's see what happens when we refresh that. Yeah, see, so we've got these sticking up, but then they start to droop on the sides as it gets away, with the slope. So we've got 0 up here and 1 here, or 100% there. Okay, so we're almost there, except we need to change some more parameters. That's placed our hair, and it's given us the shape that we want. But I'm going to come over to color, and for color mode, I'm going to pick the color I want, and it's the chance to have blue hair. Anime gives you that ability. Now, if you wanted this to be a solid pattern, and you didn't want any highlights or anything like this, you would drop this to 0. And what you're seeing in OpenGL is pretty much what you'd see in the render, is one solid RGB value, and you just get the silhouette of hair, which for certain styles could work. But I want some highlights in there, some dark lines going in there, so I'm going to go 300% on the highlight. I'm going to come over to shading, and for diffuse, 0. I want it to be have 0 diffuse and no speck. I don't want any highlights as far as like speck highlights on there. For luminosity, I'm going to crank that up. So with 100% luminosity and 0% diffuse, that's how I'm getting the cell shaded look on the skin and the other surfaces, just flattening it out to 1 RGB value. So that's what I'm doing here on the hair itself, is 0% diffuse, 100% luminosity. For tip transparency, I want that to be set at 0 because I'd like it to all the ends to come to a point and have no feathery look. No, I don't want the tip to be 100% and then fade to nothing. So I just want it to come to a point. And then this is a nice one. If we come over to shadows and we turn these to 0, self shadow and cast shadow, not only will it speed up render time, but it's going to help give us the look. We don't need them to the fibers to cast shadows on themselves. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here and see what our render looks like. And there we go. In 5.7 seconds, we have a full set of anime hair. Now you can play with the settings. You can add things like swirl and throw some bump in there, and you can start waving this around so that they don't have to just be straight spikes coming out. I've got some interesting looks by playing with some of the other attributes of swirling it around. But this is just a quick look at how we can go about setting up anime hair using the Fiber Effects tools in Lightwave. I want to just remind you that if you want larger spikes, you're going to want to change the geometry that the hair is growing out of. That's why I lowered the sub D amount. If you want lots of small spikes, then go with the original mesh, and you've got a denser mesh with a subpatch of 3, and so you're going to get smaller spikes. If you want even smaller, then up your subpatch level, and you'll have that. So again, just a quick look at anime hair in Lightwave using Fiber Effects.